God bless saints. I actually, I'm very nervous. I haven't done something like this before. First of all, I want to thank God that kept me and my family for the past 3 months, almost 3 months now. What happened was, as most of you might know by now, my baby boy, Zipporah Knight, was born. He was premature actually. He was born at 32 weeks. 3 weeks prior to his birth, I told Ziffy, something is wrong with this baby. Went to the gynae, they said, no, everything looks fine and all that. So, sorry, I'm very nervous. So, every week after that, I kept on telling Ziffy, something's wrong, something's not right with this child. And then eventually the doctors decided, okay, they're going to take him out even though he's premature. When they took him out, he had the umbilical cord around his neck and he was blue. So which means he wasn't getting oxygen. They resuscitated him and then they brought him back. So he was in the NICU for 40 days. And then on the 41st day, he was discharged. But what they noticed was he had 2 holes in his heart. And they kept on saying his heart is working too much. He needs to see the cardiologist, the specialist. But they discharged him because they said he's doing much better. So we took him home. And I had him with me for 10 days when everything changed for us. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. So, that Saturday actually we had visitors over and they came to meet him and everything was fine with him. He was fine and then he fell asleep and we went to put him down on the bed and you know how it goes with visitors, you take them halfway, to the gate, to the car, whatever. And when we came back, I went to go sit down and I told Ziffy, can you please change Zachariah's nappy because we haven't changed his nappy for a while. The next minute, Ziffy came running in. He's just screaming at me, Zappy, this child is blue. And what I noticed is he was not breathing at all. My child was dead. And something in my ear just said, CPR. Now, I'm a nurse, so I knew exactly, I knew about it, but in that moment, as a mother, you don't think, thank you so much. So I just heard this voice saying to me, CPR, and it calmed me down. And I told Ziffy, call a friend of mine that stays just a few houses from me, she's also a nurse, call Rochelle, and I told the nanny, please call my dad because I need my dad to pray for this child is dead. And on the 3rd round of the CPR, as I was breathing into him, I heard him gasping and he just went, and I knew exactly he was taking a breath again. So what happened was I told Ziffy we have to take him to the nearest hospital. Taking him to the hospital, he lost his breath twice more in the car. But I didn't stop doing CPR because I knew if I stopped, he would die. Getting at the hospital, the nearest hospital, it was not his hospital, but it was the nearest hospital, and they resuscitated him and he was doing okay. But the problem was they couldn't put him on oxygen because of his heart condition. They say if they put oxygen on him, it's going to worsen his heart, so he will die. But they put him on something called CPAP that was just helping him breathe. And right through the night, as I was with him, I was holding him right through the night, I saw his sets dropping the whole night. So every 10 minutes or so, I had to wake him up to take breath again because he forgot to breathe. He forgets to breathe. It even dropped to, for normal, it's between 90 to 100, your sets. Zeki's one dropped to 19 at some point. So the following morning, at 5 o'clock, it looked like, okay, he's stable. His sets was 74, which was still okay. And then again at 9 o'clock, I saw him turning blue again, which means he stopped breathing again. And I had to do CPR again on him. And, that's when I started going like ballistic. I was screaming at the nurses to come and help and the doctor because no one came to help me. And then eventually the doctor came, Noah's doctor, she walked past and I screamed at her and she came to help me. Then that whole week, Zechariah we saw him I don't know, he's on his last breath, really. It was just a bad image to see. Then the Thursday, I got a call to say they have to rush Zechariah to Johannesburg. He has to go for emergency open heart surgery because his heart is much, much worse than what they thought. Arriving here, what funny was, on the helicopter, me and Zechariah flew with a helicopter. There was a doctor and a paramedic. So as we went up, his pulse went to over 200. And I turned out the window and I looked out the window and I said, you know what, Zechariah, you're making me stress right now. Just calm down, boy. And I looked back and his pulse went zoop, immediately to normal. And right throughout the rest of the flight, it was normal. There was nothing wrong. So as we landed in Johannesburg, they took him in. He was supposed to land and go straight to theater. But then the doctor called me and they said, this boy is too weak. He's very, very weak. He won't survive theater. He won't survive the operation. So I said, no, that's fine. But they're going to keep him stable. Then maybe the Monday they will do the operation. But you know how the devil works. On Saturday when we went in for the visit, they told me he's got COVID. Where he picked it up, we don't know. Which means his lungs were affected now. I was so angry. More than anything, I was really angry with the devil. But it's okay. I was okay. The Sunday we came to church, me and Zephy and them, and Pastor's message uplifted us so much. So much. And I told Zephy, you know what? He's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. Coming Monday, they told us his left lung is collapsing, which means they can't do the operation. Because of COVID, his left lung is collapsing, and it seems like there's something sitting on his luchtpipe. So they said, the windpipe, yes. So they said they'll have to operate on the lung first before they can do the operation on the heart. When I came when we came from the visiting, I told Zephy, you know what, Zephy, this is God. And he looked at me and he's like, why you say that? I said, no, God is distracting the surgeons with the lungs because he's working on Zechariah's heart. And Zephy's just looking at me like confused, and I'm like, no, you'll see. And that whole week, it was just an up and down with his lungs. But all of a sudden on Thursday, they said, his lungs is fine. There's no need for operation on his lungs. And then that was the Thursday. The Saturday, they told us, no, COVID is gone. There's no viruses. There's no bacteria. He's ready now for the theater. But they're going to operate him on Monday. So on Sunday, the doctor came to me. That's why I couldn't be in church last week. He said what happened is Zechariah doesn't have 2 holes. He's got 3 holes in his heart. And it's growing bigger by the day, which means there's a flow of blood, the mixed flow of blood into his lungs, which means his lungs is full of blood. The second thing was his valves has not developed fully. So there's a whole mixture of blood, oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in his heart. Then the third thing was his aorta. His aorta is supposed, a normal person's is facing the left side. His was facing the right side, which means there was a blockage. And I said, okay, that's a lot, but okay. He said they won't be able to do one surgery. They will have to do multiple because it's too much for his small body to deal with all of that. So I said, no, it's fine. It's okay. Then they also said they will take an ox vein and put it with the aorta to help the aorta work. And then every 4 years, he has to come back so that they can replace that vein. So I said, okay. That's fine. Then I was praying. I found my family. I found my dad, all of them, like, just pray because it's quite a lot. It's quite a lot to deal with, and he's such a small boy. So Monday came. I went in at 8 o'clock, and they said, okay, they're going to take him now to theater. I must kiss him and say goodbye. So I told the surgeon, I'm going to kiss him, but I'm not going to say goodbye. And they're like, why not? You have to. I'm like, no, I don't have to, because I'm still going to see him after this. And then they told me it's going to be a 6-hour-long surgery. So I was like, no, it's fine. And I almost phoned Sister Abby to come and sit with me because I was all by myself. But anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm just, thinking about anything that's possible. Within 3 hours, a lady came back and she's like, your baby's back on his bed. I'm like, what? That was too soon for me. They said 6 hours. I prepared myself for 6 hours. And I'm like, what? How is he doing? She's like, he's breathing. And I'm like, okay. And they called me in. And when I went in, as soon as I got to the door, the surgeon came to me and he was just shaking his head. And I'm like, Doc, what's going on? And it's like, it wasn't the operation we thought it would be. He said, first of all, there was only 2 holes, but it was so tiny, they patched it up. And then he said the second thing, the valves is fully grown. They didn't even touch the valves. So the valves were normal. And then the third thing was the aorta that was facing the right side instead of the left. It was facing the normal way. The doctor said, it made me laugh so much. He said, when you cut him open, his chest, he said, bring the scans because what we see here and what we saw there is totally different. So when they brought the scans, he told me, Mommy, when I look at the scans and I'm looking at him, I'm like, but that's completely different to what we prepared for. So there was no need for a big operation. He said, I don't have to come back anymore. And the doctor, he kept on saying he doesn't understand what happened. And I turned to him and I said, you know what, Doc? It's all God. That's all God. No one else. It's just God. God bless them.
Hallelujah.